In this video, I'm going to show you how to make Belgium jump up like this. All the samples used in this video are available in my Jump Up DNB sample pack, and it also has inside the complete project template for this track, as well as the Ableton project template and the stems as well. So that's a little bonus inside, so you can literally open this track for yourselves and see how it's made whilst watching this video as well. And on top of that, if you want to get better at music production really fast, I've got a free music production workshop down below. Before we do anything else, we need to decide on a BPM, and because Belgium Jump Up is typically more aggressive, we can go a bit faster than the normal BPM of 174. So for this track I've gone 176, but you can even go as high as 180, so feel free to experiment with different BPMs. Next we need a key, so I've gone with the root note of D sharp, so pretty much everything will be around D sharp minor, and this will come in handy when making the drop, because we'll be mostly playing the note D sharp. So we're going to go through this bit by bit. So you can see here I've got 8 bars of intro, and then more 8 bars of intro, and then 8 bars of build up, and then the first 16 bars of the drop. So what we'll do is we'll go through it systematically. We'll go through the drums, then we'll go through the basses, then we'll go through the vocals, then the instruments, then the effects. Let's start by looking at the drums. So we actually have no drums in the intro apart from the last 4 bars of the drop, where all we have is the kick drum playing once every other beat, and then duplicating in time and speed here, and then we just have the clap 1 bar before the drop, and then the drums come in. So let's highlight 4 bars of these drums, and then I'll show you what goes into making these drums. And it's actually a different style to normal drum and bass drums. So normally you have the kick drum hitting every first beat and then halfway through the third beat, but here we just have the kick drum hitting once on the first bar, and then twice on the second bar, twice on the third bar, and then twice here. So let me play it for you. And this is kind of working in sync with the basses, which we'll hear later on. And then of course we have a clap. The clap position never really changes, which is just every second and fourth beat. And if we go on step mode, you can see just where this kick is here. Normally we have the kick here, but we've got it 1 step across even more here. And it gives that like jumpy, bouncy Belgium vibe. Don't really know how to describe it other than that. And then at the end here, we have a little bit of reverb, which helps with the transition, which we'll hear later on with the basses. So this kick drum is just jump up kick 1 from the jump up sample pack, and this clap is jump up clap 6. And then we have 3 hi-hats all layered together to make this. And these hit every beat, as you can see here. So the first one is jump up hat 26, second one is jump up hat 27, and the third one is jump up hat 28. Pitched up a bit, and it just gets that thicker feel when they're all playing together. So let's have a look at the percussion. So we've just got this little percussion top here, which adds even more groove. And you can see if I zoom in on it on step mode, it's in between the third beat of this bar, and it adds a little bit of groove. And then we have another one down here. This is another hat 29. And then we have another one down here, which is hat 30. And then these just copy across into the next 4 bars. So I'm just finding little spaces once the basses are playing as well, where you'll be able to hear them and they create the groove as well. So then we've got another one down here, which is hat 33. And we don't want one here, because this is where the transition happens with the reverb. So if we had one here, it would sound a bit out of place. So now we've added in the swing, we want to add more percussion, and we can do this with a ride. And this just makes the drums sound even fuller. So we're using jump up ride 5, and then we're just chopping it off at the end here. It sounds like this. And then all together. So let's see how this is working on the mix down. If you want this project template as well, it's in the add-on section on my website. I really recommend using this. It's only a few quid. I use it in every single track. It changes the game for me. So what we have here is we have our kick drums and our claps and our snares and everything else, and our hats going to these groups here. And then we do our pre-mix down on here. So you can see the kick drum's the loudest element, the clap group is coming in second, And then the hi-hats are all quiet in the background, and our perk groups down here are all quiet as well. And then this runs to the drum bus, which just has a Saturn on it on default, 41%, and a Pro L, so we can adjust the gain later on of these drums. And that is essentially how we get this really tight mix down with our drums every single time with minimal effort. And look how pretty it looks as well. So once you've created your drums, you can essentially just copy and paste these across, like I've done here 4 times, and then you should have some decent looking drums. If you haven't already, could you just take a second to smash that like button? It really helps the channel out. Now let's look at the basses. So this is going to be the most complicated part of the video because there's so much going on. So what I'll do is I'll introduce one element at a time and then play it and show you the preset and the post-processing, and then you can kind of understand how it's formulated. I made this just through a lot of trial and error. I think I made a track and wasn't happy with it, so I made another one, then made another one, and then eventually ended up with this just crazy sound. So it was just working with basses, creating basses until I made this. So let's mute all the basses, and let's start by introducing the sub bass first. This sub bass is just playing D sharp, and it looks like this, with this drawn on here, and it just has this on the back. So this is bass 19. And then on the mix down, we just have a Pro Q, getting rid of any of frequencies above 209. And we've got a Pro L boosting the level, so it's maximum here. And then on the bass bus, we've turned it right down here. So let's listen. So that is setting the scene for our speakers to be blasting the sub. Now let's add our first bass. So bass number 1. So this is Jump Up Stab Frog number 3, playing the D sharp, and it just sounds like this. And we don't actually have that much post-processing on it at all, just making sure it's loud. I don't think it's actually basic shapes, it's another one, but I can't remember which one it is. So if I bring this down and up, it makes this. And this is, you just have to go through them and find the right one if you're recreating it. And this is the processing that I've done on it. So now let's add in bass number 2. So now we have this. It's a really cool laser sound. And this is Jump Up Stab Laser 1. And it's really simple. It's just using the res of MGLO 12 to create that sound. And then we just got a bit of compression and EQ on it. And then the main way I've got the sound is actually from the post-processing. So without the post-processing, it sounds like this. But with it, it sounds like this. So we've just got an EQ, getting rid of the low end, some distortion, and then this is the main one, the effector. So it's on delay, bypass turned off, on 1/8 sound, and then we just plot it here, and it gets that cool sound. I don't know if you can recreate this in Ableton. If you're on Ableton and you've managed to recreate it, let us know in the comments how you do that. That's one thing I'm trying to figure out at the moment. And then just another EQ, making sure those low ends are out of it. And again, this is boosted really loud. So this is just playing D sharp as well. So it's basically when the clap's playing. It's almost like another layer on the clap. And then we've got this crazy low bass. And this is a bit complicated, to be honest. So if you want to copy this, then feel free. Yeah, here's all the post-processing for it if you want to give it a go. So now it's starting to come together, and the post-processing on this sound is an OTT, Camel Crusher on Annihilate, and then an EQ, getting rid of the low end, because this definitely needs to have the low end removed because it's layered with the sub directly now. And this is just playing a sustained D sharp note down here, just because it's using different octaves on Serum. So now let's have a look at the bass you've probably all been waiting for, that laser crazy one. This sounds really cool. This is Jump Up Stab Laser 2. And you can actually do some really crazy stuff with this. I'm going to have a video coming out soon, which is just like crazy jump up music with this, and it sounds like incredible. So that'll be soon. And this is actually really simple as well. We're just using the res again from MGLO 12 to create that sound, and we're using basic DC on these settings, and then we've just got a linfold distortion on it, press the EQ. And this is just again using a Saturn on console drive setting on these settings. And then we've got this effector again on decay 1/8, bypass that, and it's just down here, plotted on here, right here. Without it, just sounds like that. It is really good and overpowered, this plugin. And then the melody is playing D, G, G, D sharp, D, like that. Sounds really cool. And then we've got one more sound here, this one. And this is just a basic 808 style bass. So we'll call this a filler bass. And it's got an LFO on the pitch here, on the coarse pitch here, which gives it that downward sound to it. And then we've got distortion, compressor, filter. You get that. It's gnarly, that is. Then we've got an OTT, camel crusher, and this is the same settings as the one I showed you previously, because it's using the same channel. Sometimes I use the same channel if I think it'll sound good with those post-processing on as well. To create the melody, we're just using the AB AC setting. So this is the same as this, and then this is this slightly varied, and then this is something completely new. And there you go, and then it repeats, and then we can vary it later on even more. So I hope that made sense. I know that was a lot to take in. This genre of music is literally crazy. I love making it, but it can also be really infuriating as well, because it can sometimes be so hard to hit that point in your trial and error that it actually sounds good. So we'll go over this sound here in the instruments bit, because it's kind of an instrument for the build-up. So firstly, let's have a look. So this is a vocal sample I found on Splice.
It's impossible, the computer's gotta be wrong.
It's just a cool, like, space dialogue kind of sound.
It's impossible, the computer's gotta be wrong.
And I put it in here, and then I used it mostly in the build-up.
Our radar's picking up two strange metallic bodies. I presume they're spaceships. Spaceships.
And then pitched.
Spaceships.
And then pitched it down like that to give that really cool sound to it. So again, I've used my favorite vocal plugin, the Clar vocals, on the Start Me Up setting, and EQ here, just reducing some of those highs a little bit. And then I basically just fit it in. So there wasn't really a BPM on these, so I've just sort of had to fit it in, stretch it myself and fit it in to fit like this. And then one thing I see a lot of people do is they'll like repeat stuff, but just like, so you just grab this and then just repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. And you've got to try and not do that, because that's a bit simplistic. You've got to try and think of ways to like make it interesting. So you see how I've like just repeated that last bit and then pitched it down, and it kind of like creates like a story in a way. And this is also increasing the delay here as well to get it sound even crazier. And the delay is just on the settings here. So yeah, see what kind of vocals you can find and experiment with them. So now let's have a look at the instruments. And I've just realized this pink section here is actually drums. So I created my own breaks here. So we go over them as well, because the rest of the intro is pretty simple. I just found a sample on Splice. You don't have to do the producing all the time. You can let Splice do some of the work for you, which is what I've done here. So it's literally just a sample from Splice playing this. And then I just duplicated it. And then as the builder comes on,
Our radar's picking up two strange metallic bodies. I
I've
presume they're
repeated
spaceships.
the bit in the key, so it's not changing pitch. And then I've created a pitch bend here. And then this band is like slowly getting rid of the low end. And then these drums here are just breaks that I've created. And these sound like this.
Well, the computer's gotta be wrong.
I think there's a free jungle pack you can get online. If I can find it, I'll leave a link in the description. And it's got loads of like breaks you can like chop up and create your own breaks with. So download that and give it a go, see what kind of cool sounds you can make. And then sometimes you just got to look through Splice, use the Splice bridge if you haven't got that already. To use that, you just go on here and add the Splice bridge, and then open up your Splice, go to the tools section on Splice, and then you should be able to add it in pretty easy. And then when you play stuff on Splice, it will sync up to your device, and you can also change the key on it as well. Really powerful way of producing that I don't see many people doing. And then there's this last instrument to go over here, which is literally just another sample I found on Splice. Pitch adjust to D sharp, and it just sounds like this. I thought it sounded really alarmy and dangerous, just like the vocals, so it kind of matched them. And it's just literally just copied and pasted. I got this tiny bit from it, copied it across until the end where I used more of it. And it kind of matched the vibe of the track perfectly. I got pretty lucky finding that sample, and it made connecting the intro to the drop a lot easier. You'll see how few samples there are connecting everything together, which means the sample selection is on point. And then finally we've got the effects. So we've just got white noise and then more white noise, and then we've got like the siren alarm here, which I've adjusted to kind of fit in with the BPM. And then we just got basic risers, down filters here,
Our radar's picking up 2 strange
impact here,
spaceships.
riser here,
Spaceships.
and this is jump up riser number 3. And then we've got some cool little effects going on in here as well. That's actually a breath sound there. A little helicopter sound in there. Just got to get creative. And then obviously they just repeat. And that is the track complete. So let's listen to the track all the way through.
It's impossible. The computer's gotta be wrong. Our radar's picking up 2 strange metallic bodies. I presume they're spaceships. 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 Spaceships.
And there was a little bit of variation in this part actually. I don't remember doing that, but it sounds pretty cool. You just see it here. Literally very simple, just changing this up a little bit. That stabby bass from earlier. And that is the track complete. As you can see, all of the drop was made with the Jump Up DNB sample pack. So make sure you grab that if you want to get better at making Belgian Jump Up and just drum and bass in general. If you haven't already, watch the free music production tutorial linked down below to improve your production skills really fast. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.